Good afternoon and thanks for joining us. It's News Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. I'm Hawa Salihu Adama. We start with the energy sector this afternoon. Experts in the oil and gas sector say the Nigerian Local Content Act has increased local participation since inception. Gufan Shaji reports that while x-raying the implementation of the Nigerian content law on NTA's breakfast program, Good Morning Nigeria, the guest reiterated the need for players to develop the capacity needed in the sector.
The discussants say inasmuch as some progress have been recorded within 7 years, a lot more still needs to be done to ensure that the acts embedded in the law is achieved. More contract awards to local firms, inadequate financing, ineffective supervision, as well as disjointed oil and gas law structures as some of the issues they highlighted to be looked into to enhance policy efficacy.
I think we have done well with the Local Content Act. Compliance is a big issue because not too long, I think that was even last month, the House of Rep now, under the leadership of Imai Kong, the chairman of the committee, Local Content Committee, sent some expatriates away.
There was mixed reactions over the involvement of foreign expatriates. However, the discussant stressed that to do away with these infractions, the board needs to be stringent on implementation of the act to discourage foreign participation.
The Nigerian Content Development Fund, which ideally over time should have grown and should be accessible to local and indigenous participants in the oil and gas industry, you find that fund has not been accessed easily. The numbers show that only 3 companies have been able to access it in 7 years. We understand that it has a deposit of over 600 million naira. There's no reason why more companies should not have access to these funds.
Nigeria is going to spend billions of dollars in the installation of pipelines for gas in the next 5-6 years. And that segment is important. So I hope some of that fund will go in to support that segment.
So if we dial our sights back to education, I think that a lot of the problems of Nigerian participation that we have can really be addressed from the grassroots, from the foundation.
When we talk about local content here, we're not talking about taxes or monies we need, but we're talking about developing our indigenous capacity. And as we are upping our indigenous capacity, we are reducing our external dependency in terms of critical services like probably fabrication and others.
If these policies are adequately adhered to, the guests say it will transcend to boosting the manufacturing sector and providing more jobs for Nigerians in the oil and gas sector. In Abuja, Gufan Shaji, NTA.
Still staying with the oil and gas sector, the federal government is to revive moribund gas facilities across the country to boost gas supply to power stations. Minister of State Petroleum Resources Emmanuel Ibe Kachiku gave the assurance while signing a gas sale and aggregation agreement with a private company for 2,250 metric tons of gas daily. The gas will be transported to various locations and stranded industries through virtual pipelines.
Right now, most of the industries in the north are dying because of inability to provide power, quite frankly, small industries there at competitive prices. This virtual supply can be the bedrock, but first we need to also additionally, as I said, to work through a payment mechanism or an offset mechanism that enables everybody in the country to get gas at about the same price situation. So that's it, what we're doing.
Before the end of the year, 74 million cubic feet of gas would have been supplied to the sector by the company alone. To other matters now, the federal government has approved the adoption of new measures by its Ministry of Justice that will ensure the effectiveness of the rule of law in the country and greater access to justice for the populace. One of such measures is the creation of a coordinating center for all federal government criminal justice agencies. Minister of Justice and Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, announced this at a briefing on the activities of the ministry. Over now to Femi Okewo.
While the debate still rages on as to what form of restructuring Nigeria will embark upon, the Ministry of Justice, the arm of government that ensures rule of law in the country, has already embarked on its own form of restructuring, which the minister says will ensure that Nigerians have good access to justice.
By way of institutional reforms in the years ahead, we hope to engage into restructuring of the institution of the Federal Ministry of Justice for better performance.
Minister of Justice, at a meeting with directors and top management of the ministry, told the media that the Federal Executive Council had already approved, as part of the restructuring, the establishment of a federal investigation unit, which will help enhance the nation's investigatory capacity, leading up to greater level of prosecution of crimes. In line with this, some major prosecutions of terrorism crimes would also commence very soon.
The Federal Ministry of Justice must be consistent in maintaining its mandate of making justice accessible to all, consistent with the ideals of democracy and rule of law.
He announced that in the last 2 years, the activities of the Civil Litigation and Public Law Department of the ministry have saved the federal government over 119 billion naira and $14 million, which would have gone to various payments of damages. The Minister of Justice is of the hope that compliance and full implementation of the institutional and policy reforms will reposition the nation's justice sector for better justice delivery. In Abuja, Femi Okeowo, NTA News.
The federal government has been commended for its sincerity of purpose in taking steps to alleviate poverty, especially amongst the rural poor and unemployed. Talatu Ezirike reports that this was part of submissions of discussants on NTA's current affairs program. Good Tuesday Live.
Call for employment, and one will be amazed at the turnout of applicants who are graduates. More worrisome is the statistics of people living in extreme poverty, put at about 30 million.
The situation the Buhari-led government is tackling head-on through its social investment program in building a vibrant nation.
Poverty alleviation is okay, nobody wants to be poor.
Analysts say there is sincerity of purpose in the implementation of the program that include the homegrown school feeding, the conditional cash transfer, and the N-Power that is yielding results.
With the N-Power, we actually pay them 30,000 every month. And even then, you know, when you hear the stories emerging, you wonder. There's a visually impaired chap who applied and got selected. He, after just 5 months of payment, he's able to buy himself a computer, is what he said. And he's now translating science subjects into Braille. What is important for us is the monitoring and the feedback.
Now there's a very laudable program. There's already a bill before the House to form Poverty Alleviation Commission. The bill has passed second reading. We are going to look at forming institutions that will stand the test of time.
Beyond institutionalizing it, we also need to bring in the private sector. There's a need, you know, for a latch on the private sector momentum so that you have a wider environment.
For others, there is the need to guide against dependency syndrome and encourage right synergy.
We need to have a very comprehensive approach in the laws. This is why it's also very useful, and I think Nigeria is fortunate that the very government that is initiating this social protection program is also the one that is notably fighting corruption. These two things go together.
If I want to build a sustainable system and I give input out, it is very possible that there will be issues of side selling when it comes time for me to collect the returns. Right. So I will not be able to recycle such cases.
Well, if the saying that a little drop of water makes an ocean is anything to go by, then Nigerians are in for better deals under the ongoing social investment program. And the general advice is for collective support in building a better Nigeria. Talatu Ezirike, NTA News.
Sure, thanks Talatu. And Demola is on standby with more stories from our Lagos Network Center. Demola, you're on. Demola, you're on.
Thank you. Good afternoon and welcome to Lagos. Alleged kidnapper Chukwudumeme Onwa-Madike, popularly known as Evans, has pleaded guilty to conspiracy and kidnapping before Justice Hakeem Oshodi of the Ikeja High Court in Lagos. Ken Egbeluhe, who witnessed the proceedings today, reports that 5 other suspects were arraigned with Evans in court.
Was arraigned alongside Uche Amadi, Ogechi Nwachukwu, Ukwechukwu Nwachukwu Chikala, Ifeanyi, and Victor Aduba on a 2-count charge of conspiracy and kidnapping. When the 2-count charges were read to the accused, Evans, Amadi, and Nwachukwu pleaded guilty to the charges, while Uchechukwu, the only female defendant, Ifeanyi, and Aduba pleaded not guilty to the offences. The Lagos State prosecution, led by the Attorney General and Commissioner of Justice Adeniji Kazim, in the charge stated that the defendants committed the alleged offence between February 14th and April 12, 2017. He said the incident took place at 7:45 p.m. along Obokun Street, Ilupeju, Lagos. The Attorney General also stated that on April 12, Evans, alongside other 5 defendants, while armed with guns and other weapons, captured, detained, and collected a ransom of 223,000 euros from one Duro Donatus for his release. Before the adjournment, Justice Oshodi asked the Attorney General which choice of prison he wanted, and he said Kirikiri Maximum Security Prisons. Justice Hakeem Oshodi later adjourned the case to October 19th this year for trial. In Lagos, Ken Egbeluge, NTA News.
The Nigerian Navy has impounded 2 tanker vessels and 4 fishing trawlers in Lagos. The flag officer commanding Western Naval Command, Admiral Silvanus Abba, disclosed this while briefing newsmen during the handing over of the impounded vessels to the Federal Department of Fisheries and the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC. Imolia Yotokede has the details.
The 2 tanker vessels and 4 fishing trawlers were intercepted by officials of the Nigerian Navy on routine patrol in Lagos. The 2 tanker vessels, MT Dakris and MV CC Comfort 1, were said to be operating with invalid documents and had about 34,000 litres of petroleum.
About 23:30 hours, it was observed that the ship's AIS, that is Automatic Identification System, was found to be constantly off, constituting a navigational and safety offence.
The 4 fishing trawlers with 79 crew members were caught fishing in prohibited areas. 28 members of the crew were Chinese, 3 Ghanaians, and 48 Nigerians.
Efforts were made to contact the Federal Department of Fisheries. Further investigation revealed that the vessel was permitted to fish only within the EEZ. That is exclusive economic zone, but these 4 vessels were arrested in our inshore waters. That is less than 30 nautical miles to the shore. These are clear indications that the vessels were engaged in illegal, unreported, and unregulated fishing activities in our waters.
The suspects are to be arraigned in court. In Lagos, Imoliayo Tokede, NTA News.
And that does it from Lagos. It's back to you, Awa, for more on Nationwide. Good afternoon.
Many thanks to you, Demola. And moving on, the need for intelligence sharing between the people and security agencies has been emphasized by the Theatre Commander, Operation Lafia Doli, Major General Ibrahim Atahiru. Major General Atahiru said this while answering questions on the operations of the troops on the war against insurgency in the northeast. Speaking on the abducted police woman, he said the police is handling the matter and assures that all will be done to secure the release. He also expressed commitment on the welfare of IDPs and their settlements.
About intelligence report is the people themselves. Because it's the information, the bits and pieces of information you provide us that will form the basis of intelligence report. In other words, I think it's a clarion call to the people of the Northeast to provide us information anywhere we work. That will go a long way in enhancing our operational capabilities. We are doing everything possible to encourage the return of IDPs to their homes.
Moving on now, more than 2 million Muslims begin the annual pilgrimage today in Saudi Arabia. The movement to Mina camp on the outskirts of Mecca, which began last Tuesday night, has seen pilgrims being moved in buses all night. Nigerian pilgrims are already settling down at the camp ahead of the Arafat. Our correspondent Ahmed Ambali gives us an update from the Mina camp.
It's the first day of the commencement of the 2017 Hajj, and we are here at the Mina camp where Nigerian pilgrims are joining the rest of the body of pilgrims the world over in observing this year's Hajj. It's a very, very massive place. You can see the tents, they run and extend for kilometers on end. The pilgrims are here, some of them just arriving, others arrived earlier on. And the atmosphere is one you would expect for people who have come here to participate in the annual religious exercise. We've gone around some of the tents. The pilgrims are settling down. The facilities are also in place to ensure that for the next 4 to 5 days when they will be here, they are as comfortable as possible. Earlier on, I spoke to some of their pilgrims and they shared with us their thoughts about being here and how much they're looking forward to the day of the Arafah.
We are here to serve Allah. We are not here for comfortable or convenience. We are here, anything we get here, we'll manage it. It's part of the Hajj.
Feeling and other responsibilities is very quite all right. And we thank Allah Almighty. What we expect is even more than what we met over there.
I'm highly impressed of the arrangement of NACON because they have tried as much as possible to see that all of us are compatible.
Well, there you've heard from some of our pilgrims telling us about the facilities provided on ground. You can see more and more Nigerian pilgrims in the picture there. They are going in to find where their accommodation is and to settle in. It's really, really sunny here. So the advice is that you try to stay indoors, drink lots of water, and keep yourself ready for the big day ahead. That's the situation here from the Mina camp in Mecca. It's back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Ahmed Ambali. And the Nigerian Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs, under the leadership of its President General and Sultan of Sokoto, Muhammad Sa'ad Abubakar III, congratulates Nigerian Muslims and the entire Muslim world on the occasion of the 1438 after Hijrah Eid al-Kabir celebrations. A statement signed by the Deputy Secretary General, Professor Salisu Shehu, says, the Sultan notes that this year's Eid is significant because there will be 3 sermons within the span of 2 days. The khutbah of Arafat on Thursday, the 9th of Zulhijjah, August the 31st, 2017, and the khutbah of Eid and Jummah on Friday, the 10th Zulhijjah, September 1st, 2017. Adding that these are great days that every Muslim should reflect on and use the rare opportunities and virtues they represent to invoke the mercy of Allah and His blessings. The Sultan further added that according to the Sunnah of the Prophet, peace be upon him, Muslims who are not on pilgrimage are enjoined to fast on the day of Arafat and engage themselves in acts of worship with the conviction that Allah will forgive their sins. He also urged all Nigerian Muslims to continue to be good ambassadors of Islam, promote and embrace peace, justice and righteousness, which are the hallmarks of the religion. The council also prayed God to restore peace and stability to all the troubled parts of the country and the entire world. And ahead of the Eid al-Kabir celebrations, the Abuja-Kaduna train station has begun to witness large turnout of passengers, more than its capacity already. Oinaya Kaluoka reports that the passengers are calling for a corresponding increase in coaches to accommodate the swelling numbers.
It is early morning rush at the Kubwa station. Hundreds of passengers looking forward to meeting their loved ones hurry to board Kaduna-bound train. While on board, passengers say it is not as exciting and comfortable ride as it used to be, as some facilities are no longer functioning.
Here inside the train, and as you can see, the window is open, and that is not supposed to be so. Well, the passengers are complaining that the AC is not working.
What do we do?
No good. Yes, formerly we have a power cut problem, but it has been put into order.
The train with 4 coaches for 320 seating capacity, but records from the Nigerian Railway Corporation reveal that about 3,000 passengers struggle daily to get tickets.
It is some minutes to 8 o'clock in the morning, and of course the train has already departed to Kaduna. But here at the lobby in Kubwa, we have more passengers buying tickets while some are waiting for the afternoon train. This is because the number of seats available have been sold out.
It was a very bad situation, as I have a schedule in Kaduna, and I was expected to arrive at Kaduna before 10 o'clock, and now I've missed the train. Find a solution, maybe start selling this ticket online.
So I was locked out. It wasn't really pleasant. The number of the seat in one coach is 88 in number. So we don't have right to sell more than that specific number being reserved for.
Passengers commended NRC for taking care of ticket racketeering, but called for proper documentation while issuing out ticket numbers, which seem to be clashing. Oyinaya Kalu Oka, NTA News.
And here's a reminder that you can watch this news live online via the NTA mobile app, which you can download on your Android device at the Google Play Store or at the Apple Store if you use devices with iOS. And this is Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. Time to take some messages. Do stay with us.
Hate speech is not a joke. It incites genocide and crimes against humanity. Most of Africa's civil wars are caused by hate speech from one tribe against another. We don't want it here. The Nigerian government stands firm against hate speech.
Under no conditions whatsoever should we tolerate or excuse or justify hate speech or hateful conduct of any kind, especially where such is illegal.
There's no doubt that the resurgent push for separatism, as well as the rising cases of ethnic and religious disharmony, are all traceable to the growing phenomenon of hate speech.
One nation bound in freedom, peace and unity.
Nigeria, one nation, one people.
This is a public service announcement brought to you by NTA.
National Council for Arts and Culture, Abuja presents 10th African Arts Crafts Expo, AFAC Expo 2017, the biggest arts and crafts expo in Africa. Theme, Nigerian Crafts, the untapped treasure. Date, 27th August to 17th September 2017. Venue, Arts and Crafts Village, beside Sheraton Hotel and Yaradua Center, Abuja. Time, 9 a.m. daily. AFAC presents a unique platform for artists, crafts dealers, manufacturers, and other stakeholders to buy, sell, and promote products from Nigeria and other African countries. For more information, please call Chinwe on 0803-321-7724, Gerald on 0802-3345-301. National Council for Arts and Culture, our pride. Otumba Olusegun Ronshewe, Director General, Announcer.
Now, you can hold that dream occasion without stress. Horizon Caterers will provide answers to all your catering questions. Exquisite hall designs, mouth-watering and nourishing local and continental cuisine, suitable for all types of ceremonies, including weddings, AGMs, business luncheon, cocktails. Name it, we can bring it. Our chefs and executive waiters give your guests that unforgettable experience in service. Our service covers all states of the Federation. Call us today to book your occasions. 0805 502 9637 0803 450 9726 0909 9708 111. Horizon Caterers. Experience catering beyond the horizon.
What manner of man wakes up in the morning,
eats breakfast, gets dressed, and goes out with the sole purpose of duping his clients.
Where the dollar now? Make I check them now.
Now why?
Supposing if it is fake.
They are everywhere. The bad apples who spoil the rest. They can shortchange you. They also swap your good currency and give you counterfeits.
These people are criminal.
They are the bad money changers, mostly on the roadsides.
And they don't even get office address.
Honesty means nothing to them.
You know that happened like this. Where's my money?
Watch Professor John Bull this week and see how this rot manifests, even as you laugh like never before.
Eh? Buddha, come and separate us now. You're not a serious-minded fighter. By now, if I don't see a person,
Over and out.
Brought to you by Glow.
The largest data network, Glow Unlimited.
Reorganized, trained, and fully equipped. We are the new improved Nigeria Police Force. We fight crime. We bust syndicates. Whatever the crime, wherever the hideout, the Nigeria Police Force will get you busted. Stop kidnapping, armed robbery, murder, pipeline vandalism, and other criminal activities. Be productive. Be security conscious. Join the police force to secure your life and property. This message is from the Nigeria Police Force Public Relations Department.
Thanks for staying. It's Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. Anthony Obineche of the Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation has emerged chairperson of the National Union of Public Service, Reportorial, Secretariat, Data Processing and Allied Workers Federal Council. Victor Azu reports that the election was part of activities at the second quadrennial Delegates Conference of the Union in Abuja.
The goodwill messages at the conference doesn't seem to be of much interest to the union members. Their body language betrayed eagerness to move on to the business section. Done with the conference, the accreditation signaled commencement of the process of electing new leaders. 323 delegates were accredited from different ministries, departments and agencies. With the posts of Secretary, Financial Secretary and Auditor automatically filled unopposed, the contest was for aspirants to the office of the Chairperson, Vice Chairperson, Treasurer and Assistant Secretary. The looks on the faces of some of the contestants say it all. No one knows where the pendulum would swing. At the end of the voting, sorting and counting, Anthony Obineche polled 232 votes to defeat his opponent, Godwin Anusion, who got 86 votes. Tony Adeyemo got 196 votes to emerge the new vice chairperson. Millicent Elua polled 236 votes to emerge treasurer, while Jacob Medad polled 216 votes to become assistant secretary of the union, defeating two other candidates. The new leadership is optimistic that the union is on the path to greatness.
They expect a transformation, consolidation of the good things the immediate past executive did, which I was part of.
We fought very hard to achieve peace in this union, and we have made a lot of progress as a result of that peace.
It's about moving the union forward. So I wish them well, and let them remember that it's a selfless service.
Swearing in of the newly elected officers signals the commencement of a 4-year tenure. In Abuja, Victor Azu, NTA News.
And our Kaduna Network Center is next on our lineup. Abdullahi is on standby.
Good to see you in Kaduna. Stakeholders on child welfare have called for the formalization and full funding of Almajiri's system of education by the government in Nigeria. This is with a view to stop the menace of street begging. The call was made at a sensitization workshop on the dangers associated to street begging, organized by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in partnership with Kaduna State Ministry for Women Affairs and Social Development. Muhammad Umar Ajingi reports. Muhammad Umar Ajingi reports.
Destitute children who flood the streets begging for food and money under the platform of Al-Majuranchi system of education. This ugly incident, notorious for exposing the lives of the children to various antisocial acts later in life like waywardness, gave birth to sensitization for stakeholders to brainstorm on ways of tackling the lingering problem.
The system that produced them is actually being, corrupted. And we have to do something about it before it gets out of control.
Even on Tuesdays, when you go to cow market, you see them carrying loads, trying to source money for the malam. So eventually these children are now the ones feeding the malam and his family. And when you look at it, the malam is not even sending his children on the street.
When you condemn a whole generation to anger and hunger, what you have is catastrophe.
The governor of Kaduna State, represented by his wife, also frowned at the way underage children in the state are roaming the streets.
What is happening today is part of what the government is doing, because in order to find solutions.
The consensus reached at the end of the workshop by stakeholders was that pursuance of Islamic education is key in the upbringing of children, but must be pursued without inflicting any harm on the children. In Kaduna, I am Muhammad Umar Ajinki, NTA News.
On to food safety matters now. Towards ensuring food safety and quality homegrown agricultural commodities in the global market, the federal government has embarked on a nationwide sensitization and quality control and standardization. The advocacy is tagged Nigerian Agricultural Export Zero Reject Initiative. Sana Basiru reports on the Northwest Zone training which took place in Kano.
Poor production, processing, storing and packaging of agricultural produce has over the years continued to be the major hindrances of Nigerian farmers. This perhaps results in the rejection of the Nigerian agro-commodities in the global markets. Reports indicated that between July 2016 and June 2017, about 48 notifications were received from European Union on the Nigerian export goods, including nuts and seeds or fruits and vegetables due to aflatoxin and many other contaminants. This, the Minister of Agriculture, Audu Obe, represented by a Director of Federal Department of Agriculture, Aminu Babandi, said it is what prompted the federal government to initiate the training with a view to educate farmers on best practices to meet global standards.
The necessary established commodity certification centers across the zones to aid certification, standardization and traceability are complex.
In his remarks, Governor Abdullahi Umar Ganduje commended federal government for the initiative, which he said will help in improving the export promotion.
Nigerians, especially those from the northwestern states, have answered the clarion call of Mr. President and embraced agriculture with a high degree of seriousness.
The two-day training is expected to be conducted across the 6 geopolitical zones of the country. In Kano, Sani Basiru, NTA News.
And that report from Kano and nationwide from Kaduna is back to Hawa, who is standing by in Abuja to continue the news. Hawa.
Many thanks, Abdullahi. And moving on now, the management of the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, will not relent until the organization returns to the days when professionalism was key. NTA's Director General Malam Yakubu Ibn Muhammad said this when he received a former Director General of the NTA, Dr. Tony Iradia. Olainka Oju reports.
Malam Yakubu Ibn Muhammad described the visit of Dr. Tony Iradia as a morale booster after over 9 years the former Director General left NTA. He said this shows the belief he has in the present management team of the NTA. Malam Yakubu Ibn Muhammad promised that professionalism would not be compromised.
And what we are trying to do now, myself and members of management, is to return NTA to those glory days. Those glory days that remain a credit to the tenure of Dr. Iradia as Director General of NTA.
Saying that the reception and words used are testimonial above his PhD, Former Director General NTA, Dr. Tony Radia, noted that he is happy that some of those who were team players in his achievement when he was the Director General NTA are now in the helm of affairs.
In the last 3-4 months, I've started seeing signs of some of these things I expected to be on NTA, and they are virtually coming back.
Dr. Tony Radia is the 8th Director General of the NTA. In Abuja, Olain Kaujo, NTA News.
And time to link up with Dauju in our Benin Network Center. Good afternoon to you.
Hawa, good to see you. Thanks for joining us in Benin. The reactivation of the Edo fertilizer plant in AUG and Boa Cement Factory in Okbela is a good omen for Edo State, as it will create more jobs for the people. This was the view expressed by some stakeholders in the state, as they also laud the state government for keying into the federal government's diversification initiative. Ivie Omori has details.
Fertilizer is a major component in farming, therefore its importance to farmers cannot be overemphasized. Reviving the fertilizer plant in Edo State, according to Vice President Professor Yemi Osimbajo, will boost the economy and also bring Nigeria closer to self-sufficiency in agriculture and food security. For some respondents, the reconstruction of the plant will provide thousands of direct and indirect jobs for both the skilled and unskilled people of the state.
To take a lot of use out of the streets
is a new dawn in our industrialization drive.
This will make fertilizers readily available to us and at cheaper rates.
For these respondents, Governor Obaseki's administration has done well by revitalizing the plant, which was established by the Lucky Igminations administration, which they say goes to show his commitment in making Edo State an investment hub.
It shows no project will be abandoned in this state, whether he initiated it or not.
All he did was to work on the existing project or grant. That goes to show he's a technocrat.
The fertilizer plant, which was first inaugurated 14 years ago, has the capacity to produce about 60,000 metric tons of fertilizer per annum, which at the end of the day will help farmers in the state to boost food production. In Benin, Ivie Omori, NTA News.
Edo State government and the European Union are to work in synergy in the provision of potable water and sanitation, as well as checking illegal migration. This was the outcome of the visit by the European Union delegation led by the head of operations, Mr. Coates Cornelis, to the government house in Benin. Goodluck Enaini reports.
Edo State is set to be the foremost state in the Niger Delta region to key into the Niger Delta support program of the European Union. The state has also been described as prompt in assessing counterpart funding of the EU programs. So when the team came visiting, it was an opportunity to step up action in this direction. Governor Godwin Obaseki, who described the EU programs as catalysts to economic growth, told the visiting team that the state is working to improve on its water scheme and solicited the support of the EU in the area of providing the enabling environment to discourage illegal migration, which he described as a huge burden.
We've gone beyond that stage where you're convinced, where we are trying to understand reforms. We are now converted.
Head of Operations, European Union, Mr. Coates Cornelis, commended Edo State for keeping faith with the programs of the EU. He said the Union is about entering the critical stage of the program and will want the state government to take advantage of the opportunity. In Benin, I am Goodluck Enaini, NTA News.
18 newly promoted police officers in the Edo State Command have been decorated with their new ranks. Ayodele Asubioju reports that the Assistant Inspector General Zone 5, Abubakar Mohammed, presided over the exercise.
2 of the officers are among the 498 Deputy Superintendent of Police promoted to the rank of Superintendent of Police, while out of 5,907 inspectors considered, 16 of them serving at the zone were promoted to the rank of Assistant Superintendent of Police 2. The Assistant Inspector General, Zone 5, Abubakar Mohammed, congratulated them and urged them to reciprocate the gesture through dedication to work, loyalty, and commitment.
Promotions go with responsibilities. What you've been doing before, in terms of doing your duties diligently, Now, you are going to be given higher responsibility.
Superintendent of Police Sunday Utomwen spoke on behalf of the newly promoted officers.
I thank God for making it possible for all the promoted today to be decorated.
The Police Service Commission showed the recommendations of the Inspector General of Police. Ibrahim Idris also promoted one Commissioner of Police to the rank of Assistant Inspector General of Police, 4 Deputy Commissioners to Commissioners of Police, and 47 Superintendent of Police to Chief Superintendent of Police. In Benin, Ayodele Ashubiojo, NTA News.
And that's it from Benin. It's back to Hawa in Abuja. Good afternoon.
Many thanks to you, Dauju. And back in Abuja, interagency collaboration between the Nigerian Police Force and the Nigerian Air Force has been further strengthened with a view to enhancing the security apparatus in the country. This played out at the passing out parade of the Nigerian Air Force K9 personnel at the Nigerian Police Force Animal Branch. Olajide Bello reports.
The successes recorded by the security operatives in the fight against insurgency and other crimes is as a result of collaboration, intelligence sharing and capacity building. To further reduce crime rates and strengthen the country's internal security, policing tools, including K9 training and deployment, are strategic to curtail endemic and emanating security challenges.
This K9 training is aimed at harmonious and sterilization of K9 units for effective substance direct detection and border patrol protection operations.
The Chief of Air Staff has also approved the building of K9s and deployment of military dogs to the northeast region to help in the fight against insurgency. The accuracies of use of dogs in detection of narcotics, explosives, crowd control, trailing and tracking of criminals, search and rescue operations of missing or kidnapped hostages cannot be overemphasized.
Already, the curriculum of the second batch of the Nigerian Air Force K9 personnel has been improved upon to accommodate basic K9 approach. In Abuja, Olajide Bello, NTA News.
And for stories from other parts of the globe, over now to Uche Mwizo.
It's good to have you on this segment of the news. Venezuela's Constituent Assembly has voted to put opposition leaders on trial for treason. The assembly said it would prosecute those it accuses of promoting U.S. economic sanctions against the country. This decision came after a new UN report revealed that there has been extensive human rights abuses as the government tries to crush anti-government protesters.
I will be urging the Human Rights Council to consider taking measures to try to prevent the human rights situation in Venezuela.
The UN Security Council has condemned North Korea's firing of a ballistic missile over Japan. The UN advised President Kim Jong-un to exercise restraint and abandon his nuclear weapons program.
North Korea has violated every single Security Council resolution and violated international law.
Meanwhile, North Korea said the missile launched on Tuesday was a direct response to ongoing American and South. Reports say more than 18,000 Rohingyas have fled violence in Myanmar in less than 1 week. Aid workers say about a dozen of the new arrivals have fresh bullet wounds. Crisis erupted as the military responded to Rohingya insurgents' attack on 30 police stations last Friday. And a tropical storm Harvey has made a landfall in neighboring Louisiana after causing catastrophic flooding and devastation in Texas for the past days. The mayor of Houston has, however, imposed curfew to deter looters as rescue operations continue. That's our package on this segment. I am Uche Mwizu. The rest of the news continues shortly.
Sports now. President Muhammadu Buhari says he is convinced that the nation's sportsmen and women have the capacity to continue in doing the nation proud in every competition they engage in across the globe. The president said this while receiving the national female basketballers, the Tigress, at the presidential villa, Abuja, and announced a cash reward of 1 million naira each to the players, which the president noted would spur them into winning more laurels for the nation. State House correspondent Jide Onifade reports.
It is a moment of honor for the national female basketball team as the president receives the players at the council's chamber before the opening of the weekly Federal Executive Council meeting. The Tigress, as called, has emerged victorious over Senegal in the 2017 FIBA Women's Afro Basketball Tournament in Mali and picked one of the 2 slots for Africa in the 2018 FIBA Women's Basketball World Cup Tournament in Spain. The president commended the team and the officials for this great performance.
And the officials will only be mindful of, other than the token, is that each of the players will be given 1 million naira. Each official $500,000 naira. So we thank the Minister of Finance to try and get this money wherever she can get it from. I thank you very much. And I had time to watch the television and the NTA, as I said, for the second time I could recall. I had a program now, 24 hours NTA, and I saw some of your performances.
The team was led by Minister of Sports, Solomon Dalung.
Having realized the problems with the sector, we are determined to take steps that will restore the glory of sports in Nigeria.
This is going to motivate us more, to play as a team and work hard to make sure when we go to Spain next year, we come out with a lot of victories so we can come back home with something to show Nigeria.
True stakeholders, people who have passion for the game, were the ones that were put in positions to administer this game. So we knew how to go about it right from word go. And this is really the reason why we have this cup. So I can tell you that in our vision, we are going to continue the same way we have in terms of grassroots development of basketball in the country. And, it's our own national players who are living domestically in Nigeria that will bring back these laurels for us.
This is the 3rd time the female team is winning the cup. It had previously won it in 2003 and 2005. In the State House, Jide Onifade, NTA News.
And we will now join Jenny in our Port Harcourt Network Center for more reports.
Very much, Hawa. Good evening and welcome to Port Harcourt. A coalition of civil societies and community-based organizations in Rivers State, in conjunction with the All Progressives Congress APC Rivers State, have held a rally to celebrate the safe return of President Muhammadu Buhari from medical vacation in the United Kingdom. Karina Igoniko was at the rally and now reports.
The rally celebrating the health and safe arrival of President Muhammadu Buhari saw a large crowd that started from Polo Club in GRA Phase 1 through the Port Harcourt-Aba Expressway to the APC State Office. Chairman APC Rivers State, Davis Ikanya, appreciated God for the health and safe return of the president. He said his return will consolidate on the lofty achievements recorded so far, especially towards reviving the economy.
Nigerians were right. They voted Mr. Integrity. They voted somebody that will bring back the booming economy of Nigeria. Yes, they voted for somebody who will fight corruption. Yes.
Other APC stalwarts and leaders of the coalition of civil societies in the state added their voice, stressing that APC is alive and strong in Rivers State.
He has a proper plan, lofty plan, to restore this country onto the path of growth and development. We are here to celebrate and to thank Nigerians for their prayers and for their support for us. And we are telling every Nigerian, and people in particular, that we have seen the divine hand of God in Buhari.
In Port Harcourt, Karina Igoniko, NTA News.
Preparations are in top gear in Uyo, the Akwa Ibom State capital, for the Muslim Salah celebration of Eid al-Kabir. Susan Asokwa was at the popular Nasarawa market in Uyo and filing this report.
For 2017, Eid al-Kabir comes up on September 1 and the day is celebrated with the killing of rams. A visit to Nasarawa market where rams are sold shows that rams are very much available for would-be buyers.
People have started buying. Some of them, they've already paid their advance, coming to pick them. Maybe on Thursday, Wednesday, Thursday.
But after Eid prayer,
like before Eid Prague, there was a ban.
On their individual level of preparations for the big festival, some faithful say all is set.
I buy for my wife, for my children. Well, I did it all. A big ram, while a 100,000 or less than.
Leader of the Hausa community in the state, Alhaji Hassan Sadauki, throws more light on the significance of Eid al-Adha.
They don't shave, they don't trim their hair until after the Arafat descent, before one could do all those things.
Eid al-Kabir holds on Friday, September 1 across the globe. In Uyo, Susan Asukwo, NTA News.
And that's it from our Port Harcourt network. It's now back to you, Hawa, in Abuja.
Thank you, Jenny. And we are not done with sports yet, as in our next report, correspondent Deinde Sani takes a look at Nigeria's road to victory for Africa's new champions, Nigeria's the Tigresses.
That's a long two, and he goes in off the glass.
2 years ago, Nigeria's women's national basketball team, the Tigresses, narrowly missed out in the final of the women's Afro-Basket when they lost to the host country, Cameroon, by 1 point in the semi-final game. Unperturbed by this disappointment, the team regrouped for the 2017 edition in Mali, with most of the players in the 2015 squad making a return to the tournament. Playing in Group B, Nigeria started her campaign by defeating Mozambique 80 to 69 points. This was followed by 4 more impressive victories over Democratic Republic of Congo, Egypt, Guinea, and defending champions Senegal to finish as group leaders with a 5-0 record. The Nigerian girls took their West African counterpart Côte d'Ivoire to the cleaners by beating them 98 to 43 points in the quarter-final stage before pipping the host nation Mali 48 to 47 points in an intense nail-biting semi-final game. The much-awaited final saw the D Tigresses coming back from a 12-point deficit in the first quarter to defeat defending champions Senegal by 65 to 48 points.
Kalou got her fingertips to it though and forces the turnover, and the nice pass down the floor. Elonu puts it in free flow. Akator, Elonu cutting away from her opposite number and laying it up and in. No doubt whatsoever that the best team won this competition, and they beat Senegal in the final by 17 points.
Yeah, I feel great. It's always a blessing to be able to come and represent your country, and for us to actually take home the cup this time around is just more than we could ask for. You know, I'm just extremely thankful to God.
We went 8-0, and to come home and bring Nigeria this cup means so much, and to be a part of it, for my family to be a part of it means so much.
Deinde Sani, NTA News.
And before we go, a quick reminder that you can get all our stories and much more when you log on to our website, www.nta.ng. And that's a wrap on Nationwide this Wednesday. We thank you for being part of it. More reports on the network service and, of course, News Extra at 9. Good evening.